What kid not to get in?
Okay, I'm going to call to order the City of Menasha Board of Public Works. Attorney Captain, can you please take roll call?
Alderman Sevenik.
Here.
Alderman Langdon.
Here.
Alderman Kruger.
Here.
Alderman Tom Grady.
Here.
Alderman Ted Grady.
Here.
Alderman Rapella.
Here.
Alderman Nichols. Alderman Taylor.
First up on the agenda is the minutes to approve for July 15th, 2019. Alderman Langdon.
Thank you, Chair. Make the motion to approve the minutes from the Board of Public Works of July 15th, 2019.
We have a motion and a second by Alderman Ted Grady. Is there any discussion? See none, all in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Moving on to communications is the refuse recycling analysis. Director Adamski.
So we regularly get requests from aldermen to, discuss whether we are doing a good job with our refuse and recycling collection as far as, fees that we charge our residents compared to other municipalities. So we decided to compare our rates compared to Fox Crossing and Neenah. These are two completely separate, municipalities with different ways that they had evaluated their refuse and recycling collection. Fox Crossing, pretty much it would be residents have to bag all their leaves. They would have to not have a drop site. Pretty much would eliminate all of our services for refuse and recycling and turn them over to a private contractor. Right now, Fox Crossing is being paid every resident in Fox Crossing is paid $185 towards that fee. Right now, we charge it based on our tax rate. Any home valued under $150,000 would see an increase in fees from this proposal or this system. So that represents 79% of residents in the city of Menasha would see an increase in fees. We also compared it with the recent Neenah proposal that had gone out before they decided to do automated collection themselves, which was to pretty much just hire a company to pick garbage. Just raise the arm and dump the garbage into the truck. That's all they would be doing. We found that for that scenario, any home valued under $130,000 would see an increase in cost, which represents 72% of the houses in Menasha. As you can tell, we are very competitive with our rates. And then we did compare the Neenah rates per cart fees that we charged, but it's per taxes. It's just broken out slightly differently as per cart compared to Neenah's, and we are in the same ballpark, a little bit under what they had received quotes on for their service. So we believe that we provide a very good service to the community. We go above and beyond to serve the community. If we go with a private contractor, if you miss your deadline of getting it out by 7 in the morning or 6 in the morning, it's gone. They're not coming back to come get you. If it happens to you, once, twice a year, we do try and make an attempt to come back if possible. So that's something that we do provide. In addition, I know, myself, we had a week where garbage just wasn't picked in the entire town of Inland. It just was not picked for a week. They never gave us any explanation as far as why, and no one to call. It's just, hey, it was advanced disposal. They just chose not to pick that week because they didn't have employees. So we don't have that issue by doing it ourselves. So we do feel that this is a service that we do well here in the city of Menasha, and we should continue to provide that service to its citizens.
Thank you. Alderman Langdon.
Thank you, Chair. Josh, I just have one question on the, you said they just will just dump. That means right now our services provide us that the drivers of the recyclable or garbage will get out of their trucks and pick up any extra that we have on the terrace. And with this system, that company, whether it be at Viola or Waste Management, they would not do that, correct?
They will not get out of the truck to pick extra waste. And in addition, their bulky item fees are significantly more than ours. I believe it was for a bulky item in Fox Crossing, they are charging, or for Freon-based white goods, they're charging $80, we charge 15. So, you know, that's the type of comparison that we would be having between the two communities where, you know, we do provide a very good service, you know, for a very good rate for our taxpayers.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Alderman Taylor.
Judge, with the, with the drop-off, yard waste and things, I'm out there a lot, and I see a lot of, commercial, companies dumping out by us, and I ask the young guys sometimes, is this all from the city of Menasha? And, some of it's from Fox Crossing or Appleton, and, I don't know if we need to somehow look at, monitoring that better or doing something with that, so, they may not have some of these services in these other communities, and we have it, and people are, I know from 3 to 5, Frank is out there doing a good job, and but other times, just anybody can kind of come and go, and so, maybe we should be looking at that.
That is something that we are considering for our new public works facility. Right now, there's such commingling between the residents and our crews. It's very hard to monitor who's the resident, who's the crew, and keeping track of everyone who's in there. The residents will have a separate separate area at the new facility that would be able to be monitored more closely as far as who's in there on a regular basis. It would also be more open to the office, so they'd be able to tell who's coming and going more often.
I guess my concern is just the commercial businesses out there that may be doing business outside of Menasha, and then we have to take care of that issue, Thanks.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll move on to discussion and action items. First up is the payment to Yankee General Contractors Incorporated. Director Radomski.
So this is a payment for work that's being done, or that was done on Province Terrace. The project is pretty much complete. We're still waiting on some of the grass to, finally catch and, get to remove some of those erosion control devices that are causing some of the flooding out there. So we have had them repair those, so that it should be improved over what it was. But that, so you should be seeing a final payment on that fairly soon.
Thank you. Alderman Langdon. Alderman Sevenick.
So you think those were caused by those erosion devices that were out there?
Yes, we had we had a clogged erosion control
Oh,
device
okay.
over there.
Alderman Langdon.
Thank you, Chair. I'll make the motion to forward to council the payment to Yankee General Contractors, Inc., contract unit number 2019-02 for Province Terrace Trail, Nature's Way to US Highway 10 to State Highway 114 in the amount of $70,162.73, payment number 7.
We have a motion and a second by Alderman Taylor. Okay, is there any further discussion? Seeing none, can we take the vote?
Motion carried on roll call, 8-0.
Moving on to action item number 2 is a payment for Northeast Asphalt Incorporated for contract unit number 2019-03. Director Radomski.
So this was for the northern portion of our streets projects up in the Alva, Ida Grove area. They completed work over there. They've since pulled out. They were supposed to remobilize today. However, they contacted us last week saying that they would be back in later on this year. They weren't able to get in this week to finish up Frederick Street, Broad Street, and the library parking lot. So those are the 3 areas that are still remaining on that contract.
Thank you. Alderman Sevenick.
As far as the last three streets that you just mentioned, when do you expect them in there? Next 2 weeks?
We didn't get a firm, date from the contractor yet. They just notified us.
Wasn't it scheduled for the next?
It
this
was,
week
it
or
was
something?
supposed to start today.
Oh, I thought-
Unfortunately, they contacted us last week, Wednesday, that they had to, shift their schedule around, so they had to move it, so, we haven't gotten a firm date on them as far as when they're coming back.
So it's not in November.
Alderman Langdon.
Thank you, Chair. Make a motion to forward council payment to Northeast Asphalt Inc., contract unit number 2019-03 for the street reconstruction of various locations in the amount of $274,098.56, payment number one.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Alderman Taylor. Is there any further discussion? See none, can we vote? Attorney Captain.
Motion carried on roll call, 8-0.
Moving on to the last action item is the fee in lieu of on-site stormwater. Director Adamski.
So back in 2017, the council approved the Taco Pond Stormwater Impact Fee. That fee was used by several developers now to be able to utilize the Taco Pond to meet their on-site stormwater needs. We did ask our consultant to reevaluate that fee based on a citywide stormwater in lieu, or fee in lieu of, rather than just a Taco Pond. The reasoning for this was that Taco Pond was funded partially through Fox Crossing, partially through us, and then a lot of grant money. So we were only recuperating our costs on that, so it was a very small fee for developers, so it was very easy for them to decide, yeah, we're not gonna put a stormwater pond in our facility, we'll let the city take care of that, and we'll pay $1,000 per acre of impervious, and it's not a big deal. You know, the average stormwater pond costs $25,000 to $50,000. So this is a stormwater fee in lieu of that a developer could choose to use that is more representative of the future work that we're gonna have in the city. Last year we did the stormwater action plan, and this is based on a number of ponds that were in that action plan as far as their estimated construction costs per acre of impervious. So the new fee for the citywide stormwater fee in lieu of stormwater best management practice would be $16,007 per acre of impervious instead of the $1,000 for the Taco Pond. This does open up new areas such as Province Terrace. That area has existing pond. There's also an existing pond over near Lake Park Villas that some of that commercial development can use. So this does open us up to additional areas. In addition, it does give us the opportunity to construct a pond in an area where we see development, you know, potentially taking place. An area that's a great example of this would be like at the downtown area. We could build a pond that would serve, you know, the Becker Electric site, Gunderson, Bryn, the apartments across the street, Old City Hall, and make that all into one regional pond that they would be able to use this credit instead of all having individual stormwater on site. That would be extremely costly and cost prohibitive for some of those developments. So this is a developer incentive and tool that they can use. They have the right to put a pond on their site if they think that they can do it cheaper than what our fee is. This is not requiring them to use it, but we found that, you know, many developers have used it and they prefer to use it because it does not only cost less, but it also is less maintenance on them in the long run. They pay for the maintenance through their stormwater ERUs. And then it's also, you know, allows them to use much more of the site. You know, a stormwater pond takes up 10, 15, 20% of a site. So if you can use that remaining 10, 15, 20% to increase your business, increase the capacity of that site, that's a big benefit to businesses. So we feel that this is a good program to have. We also feel that the higher fee is good to cover some of our future stormwater costs that we're anticipating that we would see, as well as, just the cost of other ponds other than just Takal.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Sevenick.
Thank you. What is, BMPs?
That is best management practice, so that could be a wet pond, an underground detention pond, a swale, anything that controls stormwater in some way.
I see you have Ninth Street Pond, and I know that's pretty much my backyard. So, but anyways, yeah, and I have a pond. But also, I'm just kind of concerned because I was kind of caught off guard with all these, like Smith Park, De Pere Street. I'm kind of guessing that's probably Hart Park. Are you looking at down the road in the future that we're gonna be putting in these different types of BMPs?
So these BMPs were all found in the Stormwater Action Plan that was approved last year. These were proposed BMPs for that plan. To meet the MS4 guidelines, this is one plan to get there. However, the Department of Public Works continually works to try and figure out ways to meet that requirement without having to necessarily take up park space or, other areas that may be beneficial to the city. So we are looking at other options. Not all of these ponds will eventually necessarily get constructed. It's just those were part of our plan, so that's where we got the numbers from.
Back to the Ninth Street situation, and hopefully I'm not off guard here, but, do I recall that they were going to be taking out the parking lot over there by the boat ramp and redoing
Part of that project would be to redo that boat ramp or boat parking lot and make it smaller, as well as potentially purchase a house over there to make that pond viable. However, they have since put significant money into that house, so that may no longer be a legitimate option, as far as a potential, possibility for a pond, but, it's something that was in our original stormwater action plan, so rather than coming up with brand new ponds for you guys, for this report, we used existing numbers that we knew, and it was easier to calculate that way.
I know Brian's not here, and hopefully, again, Chair, if I'm not out of line, but I'm curious about these proposed ponds, if they could be done in such a way, such as you're bringing up Smith Park or a different park where they could be part of the park program. I think people like ponds.
The intention of any of them that would end up in a park potentially would be to make them very nice ponds and very, amenable to that park setting, make them have a walking trail around the pond, make them a natural setting, look good. We don't want these to just be your, grass swaled, wet detention pond that are ugly. These would have to be, higher end, aesthetically pleasing, ponds to be in these locations, and we wouldn't expect anything else.
See the paparazzis outside.
Alderman Langdon.
Thank you, Chair. Make the motion to forward to council. The recommendation from the Department of Public Works and for the fee in lieu of on-site stormwater best management practice to the amount of, we'd be adding to the amount of,
Okay, go ahead.
would be going to the amount of $16,007 per acre of impervious surface.
We have a motion, is there a second? Second by Alderman Taylor. Is there any further discussion? Alderman Nichols.
Thank you. These people that would be paying this fee in lieu of stormwater ponds on their property, would they continue to pay stormwater fees on a monthly basis like everyone else?
They would continue to pay those. Those would be paid for the maintenance of our regional ponds.
Okay, thank you. I hope that in conjunction with this, that we can also look for ways to encourage everybody, current residents, future developers, to decrease the amount of impervious surface on their properties or sites as well.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, can we take a vote? Attorney Captain.
Motion carried on roll call, 8-0.
Okay, moving on to the last, which is adjournment. Do I have a motion